Hey, Tomo, I'm sorry about your physics grade. Do you want to talk about it over some tea?
Tea? I'm good.
Tomo, I really have to talk to you about something.
Sure.
Perhaps with some tea?
I wonder what he wanted.
Arcueid. Boy, am I glad to see you.
Hey, let's go on a date. Ooh, we can get some tea.
What is with everyone in tea? Hey, what is up, my comrades? We are back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Figma 612 Arcueid Brunestud. I might be butchering that name a little bit, but we're going to keep it moving. I got a love-hate relationship when it comes to Figma. I love the way they look, but I hate the price. And this figure didn't hit me too hard in the gut, so when it comes to generic characters, at the very least, I felt like I had to get her. Figma is one of those companies you can look at and just tell right off the bat, oh yeah, Figma made that. And mostly for all the good reasons. It's the matte and satin finishes that Figma loves to put on their figures. That's always a good incentive for many of us collectors. And when it comes to anime, manga type figures, Figma is where it's at pretty much. Visually, she's got a simple, rather generic look to her, which I have no problems with. I'm kind of surprised they didn't give her that long purplish skirt she usually wears in the anime. Or maybe in the later seasons, she switches it up to this one. Not the most flush look for her arms, but I think you'll be alright. I do wish they gave her a wired skirt though. That would have took this figure to the max. You'll see throughout the video, I did end up swapping out the plastic skirt she has with the skirt that comes with the Joy Toy Xena, I believe. I think it's a good look because it frees up her articulation and it looks like something she will wear in the anime. Hard plastic for the top of her hair, so you want to be careful with that. I do like the face printing though. They did a really good job with the details. Of course, you got the signature Figma peg hole in the back for the stand, and I love this action face they did, but the paint work they did for this necklace, mine's is perfect, immaculate. Not too much detail for the hands, and the skirt itself does have a flex to it. It's two splits that's on the back, but it will still hinder the articulation, especially with the sculpt work for the shirt, but I do love how close she can get her legs. Before I got this figure, I didn't know who Arcueid is, so I did a little research, found that she's from a manga. They also did a game, and they did an anime as well. I'm up to episode 13, I believe. It's okay.
I've had enough of the secret you're keeping. There's something strange about this house, I know it. It's like there's something here you don't want anyone to know about.
Excuse me.
Yes, what is it?
I thought you'd like to know that my sister will be going out soon. And I have lots of chores to take care of in the house, so I won't have any idea what you're doing. If you wanted to find out about something, this might be a good time. There'd be no one to stop you.
So what are you saying?
Or your accessory. So I realized she actually does come with the wired purple skirt in the DX version, and this is a standard version, and I just happened to miss it, but I guess I would say that this loadout is acceptable. Probably the most relevant hands is going to be her claw hands, and I love these. You also get a set of fist hands, which is necessary and essential across the board. Everybody gets fist hands. I don't care if you do a Gumby figure. He need one and the girl need a set. You also get a set of these Style Pose Sailor Moon hands. Shout outs to Sailor Moon. You got a set of relaxed hands, imperative for all energy attacks, and ooh, she comes with some grip hands. That's when you can start having real fun with your figure, putting them in situations of photography you don't normally see them in. She's got a bonus set of hands, and these hands are kind of awkward. I'm not really sure what to do with these. And then you have her faceplate. You already seen her action face, my favorite faceplate, and then you have her looking off to the side faceplate. In this situation, I don't really mind it so much because the most important face, she's looking forward. And then you have her last faceplate, which is looking off to the other side. All of these faces look really good. I like how vivid the eye print looks, and she's got some blush too on her cheeks. I dig that. And then you have your fox ears swap out hairpiece. Honestly, I'm not really sure what's going on with this. I haven't really got that far in the anime yet, but I'm sure it's got some relevance in the lore. But the ears look really good. I can't complain about extra hair pieces. It's of a harder plastic, and so is the bangs, but the hair pieces swap out nice and easy. And then you have your slash effect, which is probably my favorite accessory. Honestly, this is the reason why I actually bought this figure. It looks awesome. I love that blending, that transition, that shading and gradient. This looks superb. It's of a harder plastic. I kind of wish it was a little softer, so you do want to be careful with that. My one biggest gripe with it though is I didn't expect for it to be a part where you have to connect it to a stand in order to display it. I kind of wish they would have included some type of adapter or something that would have went around her hands so you could like pose it without using the stand. So that's a little unfortunate. And then the last accessory she comes with is her blood spill sheet, I guess I'll call it. And I do like this. I like the colors for it. It's got a cartoony look, but it's got a universal enough use that you can kind of mix it with different displays. But it's a little tricky trying to photograph the subject in with the blood too at an angle. It's really thin. It's easy to get your prints on it, and as well as scratch up the clear parts. And I don't think there's a film on it, but if there is, I'm just going to leave it. It doesn't absorb light very well. It's kind of reflective, and I kind of wish there was a hole in it or something, because when you're trying to pose her using the base of both of her arms with the slash effect, to fit all of that on that base, the sheet just kind of hangs off. But other than that though, I like the effect. So for her look, it's not really too much I'd complain about. You can spot the two-part separation lines around her shirt, and other than that, I think she looks good. I'm gonna give her a 9 for her look. For her accessories, I'm not a big fan of the whole DX gimmick, only when they're offering something that's not necessarily essential. I think the wire skirt should have came with the standard release, maybe another faceplate, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of how they did the setup for displaying her with her slash effect. So I'm gonna give her an 8.5 out of spite for her accessories. For your articulation, so Arcueid has that standard Figma setup at the head. You got the peg going into the neck with the hinge and the ball going into the head, so she can look up a pretty good amount, surprisingly good. It's a little gappy, little spacious under the hair and under her neck, but I think I'll live. Decent side to side movement, but her hair is of a hard plastic, so it will hinder the movement a little bit. Looking down, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's tricky trying to utilize that hinge because it's kind of stiff. That gap at the back of her hair looks bad, but she's got a cool design for her shoulders. You do get a rotation at that shoulder. You get those arms up. It's not quite the T pose, but you can kind of move that arm around in that ball at the shoulder and kind of just etch your arms out just a little bit further, and you get those arms in a good amount. You can't get a full rotation. Of course, the hair will hinder it. You do have a rotation at the top and bottom of that elbow joint, so that's pretty cool. Those elbows go in about that much. I think you'll be okay. Of course, you got the universal hinge rotation at the wrist. The sleeves are of a hard plastic, so that will hinder the movement a little bit. You can see they did some Marvel Legends type of thing where you can see the hinge at the torso. Honestly, I'm okay with it. You got a point of rotation at the upper torso, you got the hinge, and then at her waist, you also get another point of rotation where you can squeak out just a little bit more of an ab crunch due to their assembly going on down there. Drop down method at the legs. When you drop them down, the legs get kind of loose, and it is a little cumbersome trying to get that leg up in that skirt due to that material right there. And also, you run into some problems where you might pop the torso off due to that skirt pushing up against that plastic on the inside. As well as on occasion, I popped off a leg a couple times at the hip, so that's kind of annoying. Here's a quick look at what they got for the assembly at the waist. It's an interesting design. It's keys into the top of the torso, and you do get a rotation and an ab crunch down there at the bottom. It's interesting. I'd say she's got a better ab crunch than a lot of the Figmas I mess with, but it's not necessarily ideal. You get a full cut for your thigh rotation. You also get a rotation at the ball at the hip, so that's pretty cool. The best knee range I've ever seen from Figma has got to be the Atlanta figure, but hers is not bad. No rotation at the boot, but you do get a rotation at the ankles, and I got some pretty good luck with Figma. Their toe hinges are usually tighter than most companies I collect, so her ankles are pretty solid. You can get those legs to go back a little bit, and she gets almost a full split. Her right leg tends to pop off that hip a lot easier than her left for some reason. So yeah, this figure's not particularly loose, except when you drop those legs down, so I'm going to give her quality at 8.9. Her articulation is better than many Figmas, especially that ab crunch, but I'm not going to ignore that plastic skirt, so that will hinder especially the sculpt work for her shirt, so I'm going to give her articulation at 8.9.
She ain't better than me. Shit.
For your size comparisons, here we have it next to your Figma Writer 2.0, your Figma Link, and your BuzzMod 2B. To be or not to be? I'm sorry. Next, here we have it next to your Joy Toy Vermith, your SH Figure Sailor Mars, and your Zach Bell figure. Next, here we have them next to your Bandai Frieza model kit, your Marvel Legends, your Jaded Toys, and your Dazzle model. And lastly, here we have them next to your Kotobukiya. I love saying that. Zero model kit. Final thoughts on the Figma Arcueid Brunestud. I pretty much already went over the gripes. The only real thing is the skirt. The price could be a little bit cheaper, but overall this is a solid figure. You can get it under 75. I say go for it. Alright y'all, that's the video. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.